green couch.
Yeah.
You're sitting there.
Yeah.
What was it? It's 2 days. How much? The NFL one
Back then it was 3.
3 days.
Yeah, it was 3. It was
So
first
3
round was 1 day, and
Yeah.
then it was like second, third, and fourth, and then 5, 6, 7.
Yeah. So you go through. Your name doesn't get called, and now what?
Man, I wrestled. I wrestled really hard. I had honestly, like, and with God, I was like, look, what kind of cruel joke is this? Like, 4 years old, like, clearly you put this on my heart. Like, it wasn't like, oh, like, I'm really good at this. It was like, I was a 4-year-old kid, and there was like some 10, 12-year-old kids playing football at the park. And I remember, like, they're like, oh, we'll give it to this little kid. And they handed me the ball. And, like, I ran and I got tackled. And I was like, that was the funnest thing ever. This is all I want to do. This is all I want to do the rest of my life.
All right. So today, actually, I don't even want to really introduce you because we met not knowing each other. Like, we just like whatever. So Jordan, I don't know what number is this podcast. This is like our 700th. I hope.
I wish.
Yeah. Yeah. But today we have Tyler Clutts. He is, I mean, you're a lot of things. So I don't want to just say, football. I made that mistake before by describing people as a former football player.
Doesn't bother me.
You're a dad, you're a husband, football player.
Part of the journey.
Yeah, real estate, business. You also were at a time really focused on helping athletes financially and stand-up guy, Christian. I mean, I do for every once in a while, and I get nervous around you because worried you gonna smite me.
For what?
And
what? I don't know anywhere in the Bible that it says you can't use a bad word.
And the last one I set up that you probably could do like the son of Thor. You probably could do that. You probably should think about that.
I think he could do Thor, period.
I think you could do Thor.
The long hair.
I go back to my college picks. I had it.
But if you go, I think if you go the superhero theme, I think you have to go like son of Thor though. You know what I mean? Shorter hair.
I like son because I feel younger. You know, now that I'm north of 40, like the younger I can associate, the better.
All right, welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Moo. I appreciate you, man. Long time coming. Yeah.
So I should say to everybody, the way we met is actually moving our national office to Dallas. Looked at a bunch of different cities, and you actually helped us look at a bunch of different cities, even though you lived in Dallas. And you kind of probably knew. I think you stacked the deck, by the way.
So I can't change the data, and we were really big on using data, but I made sure you saw the Dallas data, right?
Yeah.
And I kept pointing to it. Because the first time we met in Phoenix, right?
Yes.
So you were coming from California, and we met in Phoenix, and like the minute I met you, like, again, we hadn't even communicated prior to that. There were some other guys on your team that were like, hey, give this guy a shot. Let him come talk about it. And the second I walked in, I was like, that's my kind of guy right there. Like the second. So I was like,
appreciate it.
Then if he moves out here, then anyway, so it was all a good deal.
No, it's great. No, instantly, and then we connected on, just in general. I mean, I think, the athlete struggle is I mean, there's so many people that go through it. Some that make it, some that don't, some that have trials and tribulations. So I think that for me, like, if you play a team sport, by definition, you already know how to be a teammate. You already know how to sit the bench. You already know how to be a star. You already know, like, every aspect of business comes through sports. And that's why I got one review of my book, and they said, well, why do you talk about sports so much? And I said, that's why, because I just feel like there's so many lessons there.
100%.
But then we meet, and we're vibing. And then I'm like, oh, where you from?
No idea, by the way. They had no idea. And both from Fresno. Well, I'm from Fresno. You were living in Fresno.
Yeah, 20 years.
Yeah.
20 years in Fresno.
Yeah, and your kids went to the high school that my wife went to.
Yeah.
And so, there was just like, it was such a small world.
So you go to Clovis High.
Yep.
But you play both ways.
Yeah, at Clovis.
The quarterback.
Yeah. So I was a quarterback, but then I was also like outside linebacker, defensive end.
Nice.
High school ball.
Yeah.
If you're over 215 pounds, like
you smoke people.
Yeah. Well, no, but you're just one of the biggest kids, right? So as a quarterback, I was bigger than my whole offensive line.
Wow.
And so, yeah, so I had to play both ways.
Like, who's protecting who here?
Yeah. No, and I got to give credit. We had an incredible group of guys that like the consummate like team mentality. Those guys would die for everybody on their team. And so we found success because of that, not because of talent, not because of ability and skill and all the things and training from 8 years old on. Like, it wasn't that. It was guys that were willing to die for their brother. And
awesome.
That's what we had. So but yeah, so I was bigger, had to play both ways, which I enjoyed it. I feel like I was born like 1,500 years too late, like just kind of that gladiator mentality. And I don't even know where that came from.
No, I feel it.
So the more I'm out there, it was hard for me when I got in the NFL, and we'll get to that. But playing fullback and only playing like 18 plays a game was the hardest thing for me. It was so hard because I'm like, I just want to help. Like, I want to contribute. I want to help. But back then it was fun.
That's a transition. I want to get back to that because that's a transition that I think is hard in sports and it's hard in business to go from, you go levels, and you go from being the top, every play is you. And then all of a sudden now you're part of a team. And it's hard to sometimes realize that one small contribution that maybe has nothing to do with scoring or nothing to do with stopping a touchdown or scoring a basket in my case.
Or even in the game.
Or even in the game.
Yeah.
How, can you contribute?
Yeah.
And now in business that we know that there's people that we have on the bench that we're like, oh, they're amazing, even though they didn't score that touchdown, but it's tough.
Yeah. Yeah.
So for the record, you went in, I have to preface it, Jordan, especially for you, in Fresno is the Valley Championship. We call it the Valley because it's the Central Valley. And even though now they change it to the Central section or whatever it is, it's still
the Valley Championship. Yeah.
So you won a Valley Championship.
Yep. My senior year. Yeah. We were in the Valley Championship my junior year. I actually didn't play quarterback my junior year. I split time with a guy named Jordan Christensen, is a great buddy of mine still to this day. And we split time my sophomore year, his junior year. He was good. He ended up breaking a ton of Central Section records, still holds a bunch of records in Central Section his senior year. So it helped the team most to let him do that and then me move over to the defensive side of the ball. So I just played defense until the Wednesday before the Valley Championship. We were playing Bakersfield. We ended up putting like 6 or 7 guys in Division I scholarships. And they were just, it was different level, right? And I had to move back to quarterback. Hadn't played. I had some cleanup time, maybe like week 2, and I went into that Valley Championship with like 36 hours of preparation. And still to this day, I've never been that nervous. Like, doesn't matter what the stage is. Doesn't matter if it was a state championship wrestling match.
Yeah.
In front of 12,000 people. It's just me. Like, I've never been so nervous as I was going into that game. Just because the guys had worked so hard all year, and so much was going to be dictated on how I played.
Wow. Do you think that people overplay high school stories, like high school sport? I mean, I kind of struggling with just in general, right? I mean, it's always like that thing. If you played high school sports, maybe you were good. If you played college sports, you were probably good. And obviously, if you get to the league, you're definitely good, right?
Yeah.
So do you think that people overplay, or do you think that, like you said, that was the most nervous moment of your life? I mean, that's a big deal until to this day.
Yeah. To this day, yeah, still.
So how do you rank high school sports and what contributions people have at that level?
Well, so I think it depends. I think it depends on what you're contributing to that, right? Are you contributing to how good you were? then yeah, I think it's way overplayed because we're always remembering the best stuff. We're not remembering, defensive ends that get reached and give up a touchdown to lose the game. We don't remember that, but you remember that sack that you had that ended the game against, whoever, right?
Right.
So I think what is not overplayed about it is the value of what you learn in it that carries over and exponentially more in college and then the next level. But I do think that there's so many lessons. And so as parents, I do think it's very, very important that if your child does love sports and does enjoy it and does want to do it, the benefits that come from it, regardless of if it gets you a scholarship, regardless of if it gets you an opportunity to go to college, there's just lessons that come from high school sports, and not about the sport specifically, but about just that sacrificial effort that you give for something that's bigger than yourself.
You get angry?
Yeah, for sure.
You don't show it.
Really?
I mean, you show it, but
you haven't worked cows with me yet. I'll get you out there, Moo. I promise you. You'll see it.
I mean, just your approach, I think, to life is very. It looks like you try to come at it from a positive.
I try. Yeah,
mindset.
I try. Yeah, I try. But I think we're all weak, right? And it all.
Yeah.
We can't control everything.
Man, I'm angry all the time, bro.
Yeah.
Like literally, I wake up and I realize
emotion.
Yeah, because when I fall asleep, I'm 6'7".
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like in my mind, I'm like, okay. I'm dreaming about being above the rim, double pump,
Mm-hmm.
and then I wake up and I'm 5'9", and I'm like, I just wake up angry.
Look, I get
like
it.
my energy.
I get it. I get that. I had to draw in on everything that I had to play because we have very similar stories.
Yeah.
Like very, very similar stories in that, like, I was motivated when I was told I couldn't do something. And I was told that my entire life. And I was told that because I'll start with the worst. Like from a speed perspective, just not God's gift to me. That was not it, right? And so, but through that, he taught me other things and how to be, proficient in other areas. But like in high school, for example, my wrestling coach told me, he's like, and he always said this. I always have to imitate his voice back. Cluttsy, what are you trying to play college football for? You're too slow. You're not big enough. You're not going to do it. Just keep wrestling. And he was like trying to get me to be all in on wrestling. And I appreciate what he was trying to tell me. He thought it was truth, I think. But that moment right there motivated me like, man.
Yeah.
And so your thing, and you're talking about your coach when it was talking about being a CEO, like, that was exactly it. And then it happened again in college. And these are two men that I respected as much as anybody. Second to my own dad is I respected them because they had such an influence in my life and created and shaped who I was as a young man. Like not as an athlete, but as a young man because of just the skills and lessons and the ability to fight through hardship that they had taught me and put me in opportunities to learn. And then my head coach in college who, man, I killed myself for. I mean, I was all ball. Like we talk about dudes that are like one track. I was one track. That was it, all ball. And I get to the end of my college career, and I was 3-time all conference, and I'm top 5 in school history and sacks at Fresno State. Yep, which was its own deal just getting there, right? Yeah. But then he tells me is my dream at 4 years old was playing in the NFL, being Tom Rathman, San Francisco 49ers, like fullback, just a gritty, grimy, just tough football player. And that's what I prided myself on and worked for since I was 4 years old. And then here I am, the guy that I had given everything to. And at the time felt like I had done enough to earn respect and to earn it. But again, he tells me, he's like, hey, Cluttsy, glad you got your degree. Because you're gonna have to use that because football's probably done for you. Man. And I'm like, I've been your team captain for 2 years, and so in the moment I'm pissed. Yeah. But I am forever grateful, and I think you are too for your coach. And I don't know if it was intentional. I don't know. I can't speak for your coach. Yeah. And I can't even speak for my coach that told me this. But I'm forever grateful because I do believe that he knew me and he watched me for 5 years. And he watched how I worked and how I operated in that challenge of you're not going to do it. He use that again. By him telling me that, there was no chance, and we can talk about it more on like what it took, but there was no chance I wasn't gonna not be in the NFL.
I don't know. I think in my case, I mean, I have not talked about openly my, I wouldn't say, I was going to say failed career, but I don't know if it was a failed career. My athletic career has been a little unresolved in my mind.
Okay.
I probably should have stuck with track and soccer. I was second in the city in the 100-meter, so there's a lot of mistakes I made. I feel like moving from track and soccer to basketball just because I love the game so much. But then there's also, to your point, and we talked about this pre-show, like, that 35 to 90, I feel like everything that I did in sports prepared me for 35 to 90.
Yeah.
I didn't go professional. I didn't do the things that I thought maybe I could do, but everything about that set me up. So, but I would say for me, like, I think that people, when they gave their opinion of me in whatever sport or school or residency or even my coach, I feel like they believed it. I feel like they looked at it and they said, I know Moo's a dog. I know he's going to work his tail off. I know that he's going to wake up early and stay there late, but there's certain things that are just where they see deficiencies. And I think that's Joel Brevel was on our show, and we talked about superheroes.
Yeah.
And the difference between superheroes and supervillains.
Yeah.
And he said it's just who believes in you. And I think, like, you look at Steph Curry, right? I write about Steph Curry. Steph Curry, I love you. You're amazing. You're top 5 of all time. But you don't get Bob McKillop. You don't get, Mark Jackson. You don't get Steve Kerr. Guys that let you just jack. I mean, literally, right? If you look at from a percentage standpoint, there were guys in the league. I mean, Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf, right? Like, there's guys in the league that were just as accurate, maybe just as spontaneous. But didn't get that opportunity. So I struggle with that even now to this day, writing a book or doing whatever, doing this podcast. I'm always waking up every morning like, they just don't believe. They don't believe I can do it.
Yeah. So I think you've got to recognize how you're wired, like internally, and how you receive that information. Because I generally, and it's gotten me in trouble. I mean, I'll be the first to admit it, is I generally tend to think that other people are good, right? And that other people do want good for other people generally. I know that's not true. I'm not living in a fantasy world. I know that that's not true. But I generally believe that. And so to me, one of the things that I've had to work through, that I've recognized after retiring from professional sports and just kind of sports in general, is that I had a dependency on not letting people down. And so I took it as, hey, this coach is challenging me. He wants the best for me. He's challenging me. I can't come up short. Like, I can't let him down. But if you are wired in a way, maybe in your sense, is that like, okay, hey, I wake up angry, like, F that dude. Like, I'm about to go get it. I'm going to show him. If that's how you operate in that way, as long a healthy way. And obviously your path, you've handled it that way, right? I think the big challenge, right, is that you just don't get so wrapped up in proving everyone wrong, right? That you're following paths just to say, throw them up the middle finger.
Right.
And you're like, hey, look, I'm not following like the path that I really should be, that I'm called to. And I do think, and you mentioned being a Christian, I think that God puts these challenges in front of you in different places in your life for a reason, to sharpen the sword, to pull the potential out of you that he wants. And however you're wired, and however it sparks whatever that motivation is, I think that's an intentional hurdle that we're called to go over, and however we handle that.
So I remember like all these names of all these people. Do you channel that energy like that? Is there someone that you think back to
100%,
and you're like, that person, because you're positive, you're not.
Yeah.
But like,
no. I 100%. I have a story. I have a story, and I only hope the best for this guy. I really, really, really do. But he was on my team, and he wasn't like a direct competitor, because there's guys that, like, I go into the draft hopeful. I'd be a late round guy. I was a defensive end, and let's just call spade a spades, right? I was a white defensive end that was 6'2", 245 pounds, ran a 4.8 40. Like, nothing jumps out on paper like this is NFL talent right here, right? But I was highly productive, right? I was that try hard, good locker room guy. I was that guy.
He gave it. That's like what's his name from The Simpsons? The guy that lived
Ned Flanders.
Yeah, that's
the old good college try.
Sorry, go
but there's guys in that draft, and I'm sitting on my parents, and I always remember, and I tell this story using this visualization of this green couch that my parents had. It was like this leather 3-seater green couch. There was 5 kids in my family, so that thing was tore up.
Yeah.
But like, I'm sitting in front of the TV by myself, because my parents kind of know how I get pregame. Like my wife learned, like, Friday at like 5 p.m. before Sunday game, probably just keep distance. Like, it's not safe or wise to be around me. Like, because I just get really, like, wound up in preparation, and so my parents knew this from a young age, and so they're like, he's kind of in his mode. We're gonna give him his space. So I'm watching this draft. Watch the first day, no expectations, but I'm watching these guys, and I'm like, this dude,
that's so terrible.
This dude had 2.5 sacks. 2.5 sacks. Okay, that's fine. Okay, and then you're watching, but what really got me, and what's hard for me still about the NFL, is they're drafting on potential, not production, not character, not heart, and it's tough, because that's why. I mean, if you put a batting average on draft picks, you're getting sent down. You're getting sent down to low A if you're a GM, because everybody wants. There was a period, like the Patriots. They were drafting on, okay, hey, what is their character? What is their skill? What is their, and there was success with that. But for me, I'm watching, and there's this one dude, and he was on my team. He got kicked off our team 3 times. Once he was off. And, off-field serious issues, comes back, does it again, comes back, and then does it again, and finally is kicked off. But he only played 1 or 2 games that season, but he had those flashes. I mean, he was and again, I don't want to talk bad about him, because he was young, he was immature. I mean, 22 years old. I mean, we're all young and dumb at 22, right? Guys, women, you guys are intelligent, perfect, never made mistakes.
Yeah, they got it together.
But he was that. But I'm watching, and this cat gets drafted in the 5th round. He played 2 games. I maybe had a tackle or 2, but tell you what, like, he had flashes once or twice a game that were like exceptional. And so there's those guys that I'm like, I wish heart mattered a little bit more. And that's what, like, I coach my son's team, and that's what I'm teaching these boys. Like, I really, really am. And Martellus, on your podcast a couple weeks ago, he said it. I was telling you, I was listening to that on the way, which I shouldn't have, because, like, dang, that's big shoes. But he said something that, like, stuck out to me. He said, look, you're chasing greatness. You're not chasing winning. Like, so, and that's something that I've been implementing with these boys, and I just didn't have those words. I just tell them, like, look, a fifth grade Pop Warner championship doesn't mean anything. What matters is that you are productive, successful, joyful men someday, right? And then high school and all that leads to that. But, like, I'm not training. I told the parents, like, I'm not training your boys, and I'm not creating schemes for your 11-year-old son to win a championship in 5th grade. That doesn't mean anything. Yeah. What matters is what they're learning from this and the foundation that they're laying now that they can continue to build on. I mean, I'm not going to be there all the way through, but
that's awesome.
But Marty, I mean, he put it perfect. Like, you chase greatness, you don't chase winning.
Yeah. So 2 things I brought up. I read about Saria Bonley, that you brought up. Sorry, that I read about Saria Bonley. She's a skater that never really won anything, but she won in life.
Yeah.
And she did a backflip at her that made her routine lower scoring. And you know, I the same thing that you say, and I kind of use a phrase like, a lot of people, when you focus on winning, you have to get better faster than everybody else is getting better, so you don't get worse. So you got to win that fifth grade championship, because if you don't win the fifth grade championship, you can't win the sixth grade championship. You can't go to the NFL. But the truth is that if you pursue greatness, sometimes that pursuit of greatness, it makes you lose that fifth grade championship, or it makes you lose in a certain situation, because it's not the right thing to do necessarily to win, but it's the right thing to do to be great.
100%.
I think that's brilliant.
Yeah, because in like life, right? In business, in sports, in school, whatever it is, if you're chasing a championship, like maybe, and I'm saying like maybe, because I've won a handful of championships, it's cool. It's not as cool as what you build it up to be, right? It's not as cool as what you think it's going to be. You know, getting, closing a big deal. Hey, it sounds cool. Even when like, hey, you get that commission check, you're like, oh, that's cool. Yeah. But it's not, it doesn't fulfill you like you think that it would. Getting to be a CEO, like you're like, that's the ultimate, right? Like you were talking about your business, like, and that's too big of a dream. You can't go there. Yeah. But then you get there and then you're like, there's so much more. So if you're constantly chasing those tangible goals, right? Those physical, real goals, there's always going to be something else. And so teaching to say, look, one, you got to enjoy, and it's super cliche now, but you've got to enjoy the process. You've got to enjoy the rebuilding. You got to enjoy, the sharpening of your sword. You've got to enjoy that process, because if you think that you'll be happy once you win that fifth grade championship, it's not. It's not.
Totally agree. And I think the other thing that you mentioned too, that I really struggle with is so as much as I love sports, I look at the way that I feel like life in general, this is not just sports, I think life in general, pre-social media, pre knowing things about people before you meet them was mostly meritocracy. Of course, right? There were people that don't get an opportunity because of racism or sexism or whatever. I get that. Yep. But for the most part, it used to be you win a championship. Yeah. You were the quarterback when you won that college championship, and you're going to go in the draft, and you're going to go high in the draft because it's a merit thing. Yeah. And it's now that we're getting to, even with social media, with sports. I mean, you can have a guy plays one game, has a great moment, not even a game. And actually, I've been watching the women's basketball, because my daughter plays, and I've been in that space for like 20 years almost. Yeah. And even in that space, what's happening is it's to try to get notoriety for the game. Yep. They're going to other things besides just being an amazing person and an amazing basketball player. And in business too, it's happening in business. I mean, writing books. I'm writing now. It's like, I'm looking at it. They're like, well, what's your platform? Well, who do you talk to? Can you get this person to share your book? And I'm like, wait a second. I'm trying to create greatness. I'm trying to create something beautiful. But that doesn't really matter anymore. Does that frustrate me? Does that frustrate you?
Yeah, it does. It does, because I think we're celebrating things again that don't directly contribute to helping anyone, right? Yeah. We're celebrating things. We're celebrating, like, I can't imagine playing college athletics right now, right? Because part of you going and signing an NIL deal with someone else and transferring or whatever, part of it has to do with your social media, like, and what you're doing and what your branding is and who you are there, right? And it doesn't matter if it's loud, if it's offensive. I mean, there's a line there, but it doesn't matter. It's not based on necessarily quality of the athlete, the dedication of the athlete, the commitment, the loyalty, all of those things. That's like secondary, third, it's down the line. It's about how many eyes, what is the draw, what is going to get people to watch, how can we use that person? And this is what, professional sports has been for some time. And, I played for a guy who mastered that, right? Is how do we get more people, whether they like us or not, to watch us and care about how we do, whether they're rooting against us or they're rooting for us, doesn't matter. Right. And so now we see that across the board. And so what we're doing is we're just celebrating things that are going to be detrimental when that sport to these athletes that when it's taken away, not if, when it's going to be taken away. And now they're left in shambles, and we're going to continue to see, look, I can't imagine being an 18, 19-year-old kid that signs an NIL deal for 6 figures. I mean, you know what it was like in college. I lived off of $252 a month.
Man.
And after that 30-pack of Keystone that I got,
Fresno,
y'all. But what I'm saying is, like, it wasn't like, I can't imagine living that way, having these expectations when you get outside of that, and you're looking at most professions, and I'm not gonna say all, but like most professions is like, it doesn't really matter. I don't care what your Instagram and TikTok posts look like. Like, can you contribute to the cause of this company? Can you generate revenue? And there's just skills, I think, that are being overlooked. I think there's some good things that come from it, but like, I don't envy these college athletes right now.
I think it's, I don't want to say a bad situation because it just makes me look old.
Yeah.
But I do think
we're those salty old guys for sure.
I do think that, to your point, and I do want to talk later too about the transition when you finally know it's over as an athlete. In that transition, obviously it happened to me in college, happened to you later than that, but I think that's, to your point, the meritocracy thing probably does pan out in the long-term big scheme of things. Yes, there are families that just make it because of their name, but for the most part, you got to deliver at some point. Yeah.
There's a very small population that, inherits something, right? Whether it's their name, whether it's a company, whether it's whatever.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes ability, right? Like, there's some guys that just were blessed, right? And they didn't get to choose that. They didn't get to choose their parents, where they were born, the opportunities they had. That was inherited. But I do feel like generally there's more and more kids that believe that they deserve inheritance and don't believe that, hey, I have got to go create something.
Yeah.
And so that's what's tough. As I look at it, I think that's what's really tough. Cause I mean, in Salina, where I live now, right? It's a cool small town. I mean, it's exploding, right? Which is, that gets me a little, it's getting me nervous. But like our quarterback, good player, great player. Like, and he's fun to watch. Like, he really truly is, just committed to OU, man. What that deal is that kid got, he's got another year of high school left.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking, like, that's insanity.
Yeah.
Like the opportunity for distractions, the opportunity for just like, and I'm not saying he is this, but I'm just in general with all these kids, like the opportunity for just destruction.
Yeah.
Being introduced into somebody's life because of their availability to whatever they want.
Yeah. Yeah. If they have, I mean, hopefully they have strong families.
Yeah. That's right.
So I feel like in talking to you, my CEO coach story is your NFL draft story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think so. Yeah. When you were telling it, and when you've told that story, I'm like, gosh, there's a lot of similarities.
Yeah. I mean, and it's crazy. I think for me, I think that there are things that I wanted, and I'm being vulnerable here because I'm thinking as I go.
Yeah.
This is not what I wanted to talk about, but I think there's things to. I think you mentioned something earlier, so I'm always trying to get something different, more like, okay, CEO, okay, you're done. No, write a book. No, you're done. A podcast, like it's always some, and I think ultimately I want to be able to say that I impacted the world.
Yeah,
and not necessarily just for me, just for an opportunity to change a trajectory of somebody's life, because I know that I've had that opportunity from different people.
Yeah,
You want
to hear something that's crazy? And I don't want to stop your thought because I know you're rolling, but literally conversation with a buddy of mine, business partner. He said yesterday he's building a new company, and he's this guy he's always doing something, right?
Yeah.
And I asked him, like, how are you going to balance this? He's in like pharmaceutical sales, and then he's got a dirt work company, and then he flips land, and then he builds houses, and he like all over the place, right? Like, how are you going to do this? Now you're starting this like concrete company. I was like, how are you, like, when are you going to step away from these other things to do that? He goes, man, the reason I do these is I want to change other people's lives before I change my own. And like, that's what you just said. And like, literally that was the conversation I had yesterday.
Yeah, it's a compulsion. It ends up being, and it's only as I get older I understand why I decided to coach AAU for, we talked about that earlier, for 15 years and fly kids all over the country. And I was like, okay, what, I remember flying back from work. We had a meeting in the Bay Area, and I was coaching. I was doing like you. I'm coaching like at the time. I think there were 11.
Yeah.
And I was killing myself. And I literally landed at the airport in Fresno, sped to the gym, and, just went and coached. And a lot of people are like, well, why? It was meaningless in most people's eyes. But so I digress. You get so you're undrafted now, right? You have your moment, your less than 1% moment.
Yeah.
I'm texting you. I'm like, I want you to be on the podcast. There's very few people that get to be on the podcast. We talked about this the other day. I do have people that reach out, and actually, like, people with followings, they're like, hey, I want to be on your podcast. I'm like, dude, what's your story? Like, what's your less than 1% story? Like, and you go undrafted, and I didn't know this when we met. I didn't even know this after we worked together. I had to go look it up. And I'm like, oh, wait a second, because you just said you played. Like, you did, and you didn't even say you played. Like, I had to force it out of you. We went to Fresno State. Like, you went to Fresno State? You're like, yeah. I was like, what'd you do after? Like,
why?
Well, I kind of played, like, you didn't even brag about it.
Yeah.
But that's your less than 1% moment. So you're on the green couch. Yeah. You're sitting there.
Yeah.
What was it? It's 2 days. How much? The NFL one.
Back then it was 3.
3 days.
Yeah, it was 3. It was first round was 1 day, and then it was like second, third, and fourth, and then 5, 6, 7.
Yeah. So you go through. Your name doesn't get called. And now what?
Man, I wrestled really hard. I had honestly, like, and with God, I was like, look, what kind of cruel joke is this? Like, 4 years old, like, clearly you put this on my heart. Like, it wasn't like, oh, like, I'm really good at this. It was like, I was a 4-year-old kid, and there was like some 10, 12-year-old kids playing football at the park. And I remember, like, they're like, oh, we'll give it to this little kid. And they handed me the ball. And like, I ran and I got tackled. And I was like, that was the funnest thing ever. This is all I want to do. This is all I want to do the rest of my life.
Right.
And everything that I did, every decision I made, for the most part, somehow tied back to playing on Sundays. And so we're at this moment where, like, seemingly this dream's being ripped away. And even to this point, this inner dialogue that I'm having, this prayer that I'm having, is after that little window that free agents get called too. So the draft happens. So I'm, again, escalating. You talk about angry. Like, I'm getting more and more mad, more and more frustrated, more and more disappointed. And then the draft's done, and I'm like, I don't even care. Like, just get me to a camp. Like, I've had to prove my way everywhere I've gone. I got no problem with that. And then there's this like 24-hour window where they call it preferred free agents, where sometimes that's better than being drafted in the 7th round, because you can pick where you want to go if you've got interest. So I'm like, surely there'll be some interest, because I had calls from teams, and I just want to make sure this is your number and this is up to date. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I'm at least on their radar. Not a call, not a single call in that window. And so then this is when I'm having this conversation, and I had an agent that was telling me the same thing. And this was my special teams coach's wife. She was an attorney, and she represented a bunch of like kickers and stuff like that. And she says, I told you should just be a long snapper, because I don't think that you can make it. And this is like after my soul's already crushed, and I'm like, all right, I appreciate that. And so I'm having this.
And you long snapped for like.
No, I was twice. I was like a backup long snapper, and I'd done a couple things like here and there. I was not a long snapper by any means, but let me back up. I did recognize the value early on, and I don't know exactly when it was, but like realizing like the more you can do, the more valuable you become.
Got it.
I kind of took that to the extreme where I was like the jack of all trades, master of none for a little while. So it was like, you know, if I'd have maybe focused on one like specialty, like great. But I'm going through this and I'm wrestling with God and I'm saying like, why would you put this on my heart and then just totally take it away? And I mean, I didn't get an answer except like a week later, I had gotten a call from a Canadian football team, the offensive coordinator. He lived in Fresno in the off season, and he called me and was like, "Hey, we're having a workout. I want you to come. I saw that you haven't got drafted. I think you'd be a really good fit." I'm like, "All right." And I'm like, CFL, that's kind of like, ugh, you know, whatever.
Toronto
Argonauts. Yeah. And anyways, I went to the workout. I ended up getting signed or invited to camp.
Yeah.
But I didn't care. I was like, look, this is another opportunity. I go, I'll do my time there and I'll come back and I'll play on Sundays. You know, a couple guys had done it. So I went up, played up there. I really enjoyed it actually. Like it was a good time. Like I was in my early 20s and Canadians are fun. Like there's good people and
Canadians just vibe.
Yeah, they do. That's right. That's right. That's why we connected. And so then I come home and here's my story. And again, when people struggle and when people are going through stuff, what the danger is if you fight, if you battle through it, you learn, you grow, and you get to a point, the danger is that you can believe that you did it all yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And it was because of my doing that I accomplished whatever that goal is. Right. So I come home from Canada and there was a girl that like I'd known for years. We'd been friends. She actually dated my high school coach's son, or not high school, college coach's son for like a long time. And so she was always like way too pretty, first of all. And then she was always like, you know, coach's son's girlfriend. It was like, I thought it never crossed my mind. And I was still pissed at my coach at that time. So she had reached out and I'm like, I'm gonna get him. So she had reached out.
I don't know about this non-anchor thing. You know,
it's there. It's there.
I think there's a whole lot of Old Testament.
It took maturity to get to where I'm at right now. Back then, though, there was still some dog. And so we start dating when I come home from Canada. I'm planning on going back, but like immediately I knew. I was like, I mean, this is a stupid comparison, but it's like, I felt like I had invested in Apple in like 1985 with her. I'm like, there's no way that like I'm ever going to be able to buy into this any later. Like I gotta put a ring on it, and because this is better than I'll ever get an opportunity to. But what happened was like who she was to me, there was a new sense of motivation that was outside of myself. It was a new sense of, hey, it's not just my dream I'm chasing. Because when you're not accountable to somebody else, like you can, not saying you do, but like it's easier to just be like, okay, it's easier for me, it's easier to disappoint myself than it is to disappoint anybody else. So I always need an accountability partner. I always need someone that can hold me. If I'm struggling with something, I need someone to know, because for me, I do better with that. And so to her now, not that like I promised her anything, but to her now the dream was like reinvigorated. I wasn't tired. I wasn't like, okay, this is and so we started dating and then everything I did. So I thought I came back from Canada super rich, like super, super rich, right? I had like 15 grand in the bank. Canadian, by the way.
Right.
And so I come back and
it wasn't bad back then, though. It wasn't bad.
Well, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't good.
70 good, yeah.
It was 80. It was 80. Yeah. So it was an 80% conversion. But I got money in Royal Bank of Canada, and I'm like, yeah, RBC. And so I'm like, yeah, like I could just cruise, right? I get home, and then my bank account's at like 9, and I'm like, hold on, I just lost a whole digit, like just coming home, and then now with her, and then now there's bigger dreams, right? Now it's like, okay, I want to get married, I want to support, like, so I started working insurance in the off season, so I was like an insurance broker, and so started doing that, and then I was like, this isn't making any money right now, So I then started working at Doghouse Grill at a sports bar.
You were working
I was
at
working at Doghouse Grill because my parents, as much support as they provided for me, like they were really good. It's like you've got to learn, and like and they didn't have it either, right? They didn't have any excess cash that they could support me, and nor should they. Not at 23 years old. Other than I had to move back in with them. Then I'm like, okay, well, tips and insurance money aren't really cutting it. So then I started also working at a Christmas tree lot, right? A pumpkin patch and then Christmas tree lot.
Okay, I got to stop you for a minute. Okay, Tyler's officially Jamaican. He's Jamaican.
I'll take it, man. I will take it.
Jordan.
I was thinking about that in Living Color skit.
Yo, I mean,
Jamaicans.
Yeah, because I'm saying
how many jobs you got?
Yeah. Know what I mean? If I'm looking at it, I'm like, once you get to when you get to 2, you can you're kind of Jamaican. When you start talking about 3, and it's also the spread. Yeah, it's like insurance to Christmas tree lot.
100%.
Like it's not even like
no, it's real. it's like what I know. I tell people that selling Christmas trees is no big deal.
Though, man. I love it.
But it was all there, but all the while, like I'm thinking I'm going back to Canada, right? I'm going back and playing, and it was just like, all right, save up, get her a ring, and then there's a wedding eventually that you got to pay for, and like she was like beyond supportive. So, but then, 1, I ran out of money, and then 2 is I'm getting ready a week before I go back to camp the next year. They had hired a new staff, new head coach. He calls me and he's just like, "Hey, Tyler, appreciate everything you did last year, but with the roster structure, in Canada you can have half your roster as Americans, imports, non-imports, and Canadians. So I'm competing against not only the fact that like I'm American, but like other guys as well. So anyways, he's like, we're not gonna bring you back to camp. We need that roster spot. So I'm having another moment, with God, and I'm like, okay, hold on. Now I'm not even good enough in the CFL. And, I felt like I had a good year. I mean, it wasn't like, I had 7 or 8 sacks in like a 29 game season or whatever we had up there. Right. So it was like productive, but it wasn't like, but I'm like, okay, I'm not good enough there. And I now have someone that like, I want to support, I want to give her what she deserves. And this is all being taken away. And then this dream that I've had is still as strong as ever. And that's all being taken away again. So I had another one of those moments, and I was out for a year and a half, like out. And so same deal, insurance. I was working this guy that had pumpkin patch, carnival, Christmas tree lot, like the whole deal. And then training at 5, doing speed training at lunch, and then working till like 11 or 12 at night. And
that's your 40 days and 40 nights right there.
It was a wild time. It was a wild time. In the moment though, and when I say like, we got to be very careful saying that we did it ourselves, because there's no way on my own strength I could have done that. Yeah. And it was my wife now, Tiffany. We had gotten married, and I'm ready to hang it up. I'm like, this sucks. Like I'm going to every dollar we made, I'd be going to these open workouts for like the UFL and the CFL where you're paying $200. So now I'm having to travel, I'm paying. And there's one, I was in Orlando, and this is when I was like, I gotta hang it up. I can't chase this anymore, because we're in Orlando. It's at the Citrus Bowl. It's one of their practice fields for a UFL team. And I fly out there, and I get there an hour and a half before the workout starts just to register or whatever. I get there, there's already 500 people in line to register. 500, 200 ahead to like just to work out. And I'm like, what?